Hello and welcome to the Sewing Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this picnic placemat, and this rolls up and goes into your picnic hamper, ideal for picnics or going to the beach. So it rolls up like that, and we're going to do different colours so everyone's got their own one. So I'm going to show you how to make this. So what you need first of all is a piece of summery fabric. So I've chosen this beach look fabric, but any summery, bright, jolly fabric will do. And then decide what colour you want your pocket, your binding and your tie. So the placemat measures 9.5 by 12.5. So I'm going to do another one here for the purposes of today. I'm going to do this one with a green trim and a green pocket. So what I've done here is I've cut my 9.5 by 12.5 front fabric. I've put some wadding on it, and then I've put the background fabric, which is going to be this green. And I've quilted along here, and I've done a cross-hatch quilting. And all I did to measure my cross-hatch quilting was I drew a diagonal line across, and I did that using an iron-off marker pen. So I'd got a line for my quilting stitches, and then I did one this way as well. And then I moved the ruler an inch at a time, and I measured and drew the lines. So this one has already been quilted. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to trim that up, and then we're going to make the pocket for it. So that's nicely trimmed up. I've decided to go with the green, which is the same as I've got on the back. And I've cut 2.5 inch strip, and this is going to be for my binding and for my little tie here for when we roll it up. But first of all, we're going to do the pocket. Now, the pocket is a piece of fabric which I've folded in half, and this piece of fabric measures, I'm just going to double check my measurements, this measures 10 inches by 5 inches. So I'm just going over to the iron to press that so I get a nice crease here before I do my sewing. So I'm just going to press the pocket so I fold it in half, and so I get a nice crease at the top. So that's going to be the top of the pocket, but in a moment we're going to turn it the other way and hem it round, so you'll see what I mean. And then I'm just going to fold the end pieces of this one in, because this is going to be our tie. So I want one end to be neater. The other end doesn't matter because that's going to go in the binding. So I'm just going to press that down as well. And then when I go over to the machine, I can do it all in one go. Just snip that bit of selvage off as well. Right, so I'm now going over to the machine, and I'm going to sew the pocket, and then I'm going to sew it onto here. But first of all, I need to make a double-sided pocket, so it's the same on the inside as it is on the outside. So I'm going to machine 1/4 inch down. And then I'm going to stop to leave a gap, because what I want to do is sew right along the bottom and up one side. But I'm just stopping there to leave a gap so I can turn my pocket through. While I'm at the machine, I'm just going to sew down the side of my tie as well. So I'm just carefully going to cut the corners off, avoiding my stitching. Then I'm going to turn this right sides out. Just going to give that a little press. And then I'm going to place this onto the mat. And so I'm going to measure approximately an inch in from the side and an inch up from the bottom. And I've got my fold at the top. Let's get this right. I've got my fold at the top and I've got my little gap there from where I machined it, but that gap is going to be closed in a minute as it is on this one. So I'm just measuring that. So it's approximately an inch in from this side and an inch up from the bottom. And pop some pins in. I'm going to go back to the machine and stitch that on. So I'm just going to do a backwards forward stitch at the top just to lock the stitch so that that doesn't pull when you've got your cutlery in there. So we've got our pocket on there now. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our tie round the right way. And this is always a bit tricky when you've got something that's a long, skinny piece of fabric, but we're just going to turn that through. So I've turned the tie through and I've pressed it. I've turned one end in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to the back here so that when I come to put my binding on, it will be encased in the binding like this one is here. So I'm just going to measure halfway up, and I'll do this just by folding it, and then I'm going to pop that on there with the raw edge against the raw edge. We'll just pop a pin in there, remembering that's there, of course, when we come to put our binding on. So the next stage would be to take our binding, which measures 2.5 inches, fold it in half, and then we're going to put our binding on like this and fold it over as you would with any other quilt. And that will hide our tie, as you can see there. So we'll just pop our cutlery in this one so you can see that that all fits. And that's how you make these lovely little picnic placemats. And as I say, they're ideal because you can make them different colours for different people, and then you can roll it up, you can tie it around, and then pop that in your picnic basket, and off you go for the day. So as always, have fun, make them your own, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio.